And it's a hoax. Yes, the 12-year-old Amari Allen, the little black girl who went to school at a very exclusive private school in Northern Virginia, about a week or so ago, she told the world that 3 white kids kidnapped her, held her down, cut her hair all the time, stealing her lunch, berating her, calling her ugly, saying she should never have been born. None of it happened. But by the time the New York Washington Post figured it out on Monday, this story had traveled the world as just another example of white racism and black victimization. You know, we love the hoax stories around here because they reveal how eager these reporters are just to get these stories of white racism and black victimization all the time, forgetting Colin Flaherty's number one and only rule of journalism, which is, if your mother says she loves you, check it out. Nobody cared about that rule. All they cared about was getting this story of white racism, and well, it had to be true because black people are relentless victims of relentless white racism all the time, everywhere. That explains everything. So why don't we watch this story from the local affiliate, CBS, I think CBS affiliate down there in the Northern Virginia area, where they were bragging about how they were first on the story, how they knew the family, how they couldn't sleep at night. They couldn't get enough of this story. Now, what's going to happen to them and their story? What are going to be the consequences to them for their role in this enormous hoax?
Turning back to our top story, family members of this beautiful young girl are outraged. 12-year-old Amari says her classmates pinned her down on the playground, chopped off her locks, and said terrible things. Makia Turner spoke with the family. And I know, Makia, this must be pretty gut-wrenching for the girl as well as her family.
Reese, I'll be honest with both of you. I had a hard time sleeping last night, sitting through that interview and just hearing this little girl talk about what she went through on her school playground. This is at a Christian school out of Springfield, Virginia. It was just heartbreaking.
Where were administrators? Where were anybody to protect her from this heinous crime?
Cynthia Allen is overwhelmed with frustration after learning what her 12-year-old granddaughter Amari went through on this school playground Monday.
You guys have,
Amari is a 6th grader at the private Emmanuel Christian School in Springfield, Virginia, the place where Second Lady Karen Pence teaches. Amari tells WUSA 9 she's been bullied for weeks.
Sometimes I think that I don't deserve to be there at a Christian school and everything, and that I'm ugly.
She says 3 6th-grade boys won't let up, taking her school lunches, calling her names, and more recently, an attack on the school playground.
All 3 were around me, and then one of them put my hands behind my back, one of them covered my mouth.
All while, she says, a 3rd student pulled out scissors, then cut her hair. Her lengthy dreadlocks now hanging unevenly.
Took big chunks of my hair and just cut.
What kind of names were they calling you?
Ugly, I shouldn't have been born.
Amari's grandmother wonders where the teachers and other students were when this happened.
It's time for something to be done.
You felt like you should have been safe.
She says she never told anyone because she was scared, but her grandmother noticed her hair and questioned her a couple days later.
And I kind of pulled some of them out, and I saw where they just chopped them up.
In a statement, head of school Stephen Danish wouldn't address our questions directly, but stated, quote, "We are deeply disturbed by the allegations and that the school has a zero-tolerance policy for any kind of bullying or abuse." Danish also says they have reached out to law enforcement to conduct a thorough investigation.
I want to see them dismissed from the school. I want to see something done. I want to see whatever the policies are for bullying. I want to see them implemented because apparently they're not being implemented.
Just devastating, Reese. I know a lot of people are asking, well, how did you know about this story? Because we broke it first here on WSA 9. I know the family. And like I said, it was really hard to hear her talk about what she went through at a place where she was supposed to feel safe. This is an expensive private school. It's in Springfield, Virginia. The second lady, Karen Pence, she works there part-time. She teaches art there. And so the family, of course, she's black, and the 3 students who did this to her are white. So naturally, they feel like this was racially motivated. I have reached out to Fairfax County Police. They are investigating. They're not saying much because everyone involved here, they're minors. But the bigger issue here, obviously, is this girl, this beautiful, natural girl being ridiculed. She's 12 years old for the way that she looks. She's beautiful. Just this week, we were talking about the Crown Act, celebrating black hair. And the Crown Act is in place, and I really hope it truly does catch on because it's going to protect little girls like this when they get older and they're discriminated against based off how they look. I get kind of emotional just talking about it because I have little cousins, I have a little sister. I mean, I have black women in my family who wear their hair natural. And this hurts. And it's even more difficult to see this happening at such a young age. We're talking about all sixth graders here. So when you look at that, you know, you ask yourself, like, how can people hate and be so cruel at such a young age? And it's because they're taught that way. And we've got to do better.
I agree. Thank you for connecting it to the Crown Act, because that's one of the things I was thinking about as well. Having people be used to seeing people from different backgrounds who look different ways and being more tolerant and accepting and having that hopefully trickle down. I was angered watching the piece to see her family having to deal with what happened to their child, but then also be pleading for there to be some semblance of justice and peace for her moving forward with the repercussions for the kids. They shouldn't have to deal with that. They should have to only be able to focus on Amari. The other thing that struck me about this story is that she was afraid and didn't tell anybody immediately when this happened. Right. And then we find out that this kind of bullying had been going on for quite some time.
Her school lunch stolen every day this week.
So it's no telling how many other kids are suffering in silence and internalizing this kind of hatred and bullying, because this really can cause people to change the way they feel about themselves. It looks like she has good people around her that can prevent that from happening, and certainly we'll keep following the story and keep following her as well.
And guys, I just want to say off of Reese's thought there about how sad it is that she couldn't, out of fear, that she felt like she couldn't talk about the bullying. And I think that's important, and that's an important point to make, is that parents, it starts in the house too.
Absolutely.
You know, whether your child is the bully or the one being bullied, that conversation has to take place like yesterday.
Yeah.
Parents need to talk about it and let their children know that it's okay, that you need to speak out and start that conversation. But it's really sad when you also think about all the parties involved, even the kids that attacked her, the amount of hatred and rage that they're carrying within themselves to carry out this act, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's concerning. My question would be to you, Makia, what is the school doing? They released that statement. Are they looking at cameras? Were cameras in that direction? Like, do we know what they are going to do?
Right. So in fact, yesterday I called before I physically went into the school office, and I just kept being told, our spokesperson's going to get in contact with you. No one ever did. I had to continue to call throughout the afternoon. They sent a statement saying that Fairfax County Police would be investigating. The playground at that school is now a crime scene. Essentially, it's all closed off. But they have still not answered the question. We've seen the bully policies online, which are pretty strict. They're pretty lengthy. But my question is, and this is what I intend to find out, I'm going to stay on top of this story, is what's being done about it with these little boys? They won't say much. They're referring all inquiries to Fairfax County Police, who, again, aren't saying much. But we're going to keep asking those questions until something's done. Also, the family is keeping me in the loop, so we're likely to break everything you want to hear right here.
Well, it's an opportunity for the school to get out in front and actually teach these kids how they're supposed to treat one another by their handling of this case. So we'll continue to hold their feet to the fire on that end.
Definitely. And Amari, I know you're watching. You're a beautiful girl. We love you, and you have a lot of support. Just check out social media. It's blowing up.
Thank you for telling your story, girls. A lot of other people out there like that. So
look, I don't know what that 12-year-old girl, I don't know what she wants to major in high school or college, but I suggest very strongly she get into the dramatics department, the way she was turning those faucets on and off. Oh yeah, that's a hot commodity on the Broadway theater. Boy, these hoax stories just keep coming at us so fast and furious. I mean, I haven't even had a chance to do the hoax story about the black NFL player who vandalized his own business, who scrawled all these anti-black racial epithets and slurs on his business just so he could collect the insurance money. They're coming at us too fast.
A former NFL player is facing charges. Police say he staged a hate crime in the restaurant he owns. Police caught him trying to leave the scene. Channel 2's Taisha Fernandez live in Gwinnett County at the restaurant. And Taisha, since we saw you at 5 o'clock, you've learned that he's been arrested a few times before.
He played for several NFL teams before he left the league, and right now he owns this ice cream business and the pizzeria next door. Police say that he vandalized and burglarized his own business and made it look like someone else committed a hate crime.
We are so fortunate that somebody saw something weird, saw something suspicious, and called us.
At 9:30 Wednesday night, a maintenance worker at this Lawrenceville shopping plaza called 911 and reported a burglary in progress. Some officers quickly spotted a black pickup truck leaving this restaurant, and it didn't have a license plate on it. Former NFL player Edon Kaufman was driving, and he had flat screen TVs in the back.
The brackets were still attached, and there was still drywall attached to the brackets, meaning somebody took them off very quickly.
Police looked at the paint on his hands, looked at the fresh paint on the walls of the restaurant, and realized he's the owner, and he may be the one who just vandalized and burglarized his own business and tried to make it look like a hate crime.
That he had reported this incident to his insurance company prior to the officers even conducting that first pullover.
As I looked up how many NFL teams Edon played for, I realized we did a story on him back in 2016 when police arrested his business partner, another NFL player, for selling alcohol after hours in their business without a license. And Reuters reported that Edon Kaufman was arrested in Canada for gun possession.
He was attempting to leave the shopping center when our officers conducted that felony stop. So everything lined up for this perfect arrest.
Wow. Kaufman is already bonded out of jail. He's now facing 3 charges: insurance fraud, making a false report, and he's facing a charge for taking his license plate off, and police say he could face more charges.
Now, if this story and this news cycle plays out just like the other hoaxes have played out, this will disappear very quickly and nobody will remember it or say anything about it. What they will do is go back to their desks, not learn anything, except just sit there waiting for the phone to ring for the next fake story of white racism and black victimization to come down the pike so they can start the whole thing over again with visions of Emmys and Peabodys and speaking engagements and black celebrityhood in their minds.
Please, sir, I want some more.
Because doing stories about white racism and black victimization, true or not, that never makes the black kids angry.